you guys propped up on right now, because I was not planning on recording today, but you know how they say that you should record just about anything and everything you do as far as your, work goes. So I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and record a little bit of what I'm doing today. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Tania Lopez, and I am the artist behind Art Ison. And if you're returning, hey, welcome. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's a pretty day today, but I'm actually just taking advantage of the fact that I don't have my children with me today, which makes it a little bit easier to tidy things up around here. So that's what I'm doing today. Kind of fixing up my workspace. Now, let me just explain a little bit here. So the house that I currently live on, I don't have a designated art space per se. And so I kind of have to just kind of work with what I got, but I also like to change positions and stuff like that. So it makes it a little hard because it also means that my workspace is a little bit combined with my everyday living. I do not like taking over the living space that my children and I also, live on, because you could get a little bit anxious from that, right? You want to make sure you separate your workspace and your living space, but unfortunately here, I don't have that luxury. Now, we are still currently in quarter one. If you've watched some of my videos before, then you know that my quarter one is mainly for administrative work. But this whole past week, I've been feeling a little blah, a little bit fatigued, I think, as far as just being on the computer all the time and just doing the admin stuff and uploading and creating. And I just kind of wanted a break from that. So I decided that today I was going to go ahead and tidy some things up. I just finished a vendor season, basically. When was my last festival? Right before Christmas at some point. And so I still had that stuff kind of out, like it still was taking over my workspace. I don't know when it's the next festival that I'll be doing. So I just went ahead and put those things away so that I can have the stuff that I need to go into quarter two. Now, quarter two for me is what I call my painting season. And that's when I get most of the bulk of all of my painting stuff started. And not just my crafts, but also my artwork. And so I wanted to make sure that I have all of the things that I need for that accessible. And while I'm doing that, I'm also taking mental notes of the things that I know I need to purchase to restock, whether it's paint or some packaging supplies, anything like that. I also had to make sure that I organized the stuff that I already have ready to go, because orders still always come in. So I want to make sure that I have those things handy. So I went ahead and decided that that's what I was going to do, just go ahead and tidy up. So I'm just going to take you behind that and kind of show you what my train of thought is with that. Now, I will say this, even though I tidy up this area here to get ready for painting, it's more like usually what I do is I go to work for my full-time job, and then I also make sure that when I come home, I do at least a little bit here, spend at least 1 or 2 hours doing something towards my art business. But when it's grind time, like when it's time to hustle, then you will see that I take over the dining room, and then I also put out a folding table out here just to kind of knock things out in large quantities, as well as my daughter is wanting to help out even more. She's already helped out doing some base painting for some of the crafts, but she wants to help out a little bit more this year. So I have to make sure that I create sort of like a station for her. But those things are more temporary, and it happens later on. So for today, I just wanted to make sure that I had the essentials that I need out here to get those creative juices going. It's something about spring coming, and I know spring is coming soon. But it's something about spring for me that kind of makes me, it always makes me feel more motivated to get to be a little bit more creative and artistic. And so I know that that time is coming, and I want to make sure that I am prepared as far as my workspace goes, so like that I don't spend or waste time doing that when the time comes. So anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop talking right now. I'll see you guys at the end of the video, and I'll just bring you along with me. So basically what's happening here is I'm going through my brushes because sometimes when you're working, everything just kind of gets put together, and some things also get damaged. So the purpose of me cleaning up today and really trying to tidy up is to make my workspace a little bit more fluid and smooth when I transition from one project to another. And one of the things is also transitioning from my crafting and my painting. So some things actually did get mixed up. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I do also have some brushes that I've set to the side that are either brittle or loose, or just, you know, just kind of like this. But I'm gonna keep these not for me but for my children, because my children are not very good with brushes. They just tend to use it and then just kind of let them get messed up. So I might as well just go ahead and keep these for them so they can go ahead and use them and play with them and at least get the most out of those kind of brushes. But here on this one, I keep the stuff that I want to be able to keep on my desk, and there's different kind of brushes here. I'll go through that in a bit when I show you the whole space. But then in my good old-fashioned Bustelo can, I do keep my crafting brushes. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, just kind of cleaning it up so I can get everything situated. All right, so I am done with this portion. As you can see, it looks like a lot, right? It's not aesthetically pleasing, but everything that I need either to package or start creating is ready to go. And so like I mentioned, this is my primary workspace. When I work, I come home, I get the kids settled, ready, homework and whatsoever, and then I can go ahead and sit down and do some work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give you a quick little tour of what I have in place. So here on the side of the desk, along with some of the tech stuff, I do have lights and chargers hooked over here ready for me to use. This basket right here, I have stencils that I use for my crafts, as well as some tracing paper that I may use, and a couple of other things down there. Like I have my button templates, and I can actually show you that briefly. So that you can see, I do, or I used to make glass magnets and pin buttons when I used to do vendor events really heavy, and I stopped doing it because I wasn't participating in vendor events. But I do have a lot of the supplies for pin buttons and glass magnets, so I'm just gonna go ahead and at least knock some of those out and get them out. I always set myself up so that it's basically good to go. So all of these things is what I make glass magnets or pin buttons out of, in different sizes. And so I have these already here, ready to be used. And so I'm gonna keep it handy because like I mentioned, I have quite a bit of supplies for glass magnets and pin buttons, and I need to just go ahead and utilize them. So here, this is what I was doing earlier. These are my brushes, my main brushes. So not for the crafting, just for everything else. So stencils, watercolor brushes, acrylic brushes for paper or canvas, the smaller canvases, and some of the tools that I use for sketching and whatnot. I do have this portable lamp here, usually I have it hooked up to my arm right here so that I can have the light shining down, but for right now I just have it there. I do tend to move it. I am planning on working on some pieces that are not on canvas, so I do have my acrylic paper out here, my watercolor pads, and a smaller one, as well as some larger papers up here, because I do have some things that I have planned out. I will be using my gouache colors a little bit more for those smaller projects, so I have those handy and accessible. Now this right here is what I mean, that I like to transition from one thing to another. So I just have a couple of jewelry tools up here, but these right here, you see they are damaged, they're yellowing. I am gonna throw these out, but I do want to salvage the embellishments, so I have these already ready for me to go ahead and take care of that, so I can get rid of them. Some stamping, some more embellishments for key rings and stuff like that. This right here is my little desktop trash can. And I always have, that's for the smaller pieces. I did mention I'm gonna go ahead and give these to the kids, these other older brushes, so they can use and throw out and whatnot. But I do have that there. Pencils, pens, whatever. And then I do have my smaller art prints accessible, as well as some of the greeting cards, because if I do sell them, those orders come in kind of sporadically, you know, a little bit slower when it's not Christmas season or anything like that. But I do want to have them ready to just go ahead and be good to go, right? So I do have those handy, as well as some of the other things that are already accomplished and done, and I'll show you that in a moment. Along with that, I have some of my packaging needs down here, so things for the jewelry, that I do have ready to go. Some boxes are here. The boxes where I do package my ornaments and my charms. I do have to order some more. This is not going to be good enough for the season. Some greeting card envelopes, because I do print my greeting cards. And let's see, some backing for prints and stuff like that. And then I have my larger prints down here, as well as the backup stock for the smaller ones. So I have them ready to go if I do get an order for that. Over here now I have my either wood crafts that are done or prepped or whatever. I have to get these things done. These are the last ones that I have as far as my popsicle coasters. I do have to stock these up by a lot. And some things that I have left over. This section are my smaller wood crafts. I do have them divided because I want to know what I have on hand. These right here, I know that I have to either fix up or finish and whatever. They're like the miscellaneous section basically. But for the most part, I have different shapes, things that are either good for me to go ahead and varnish, or maybe I need to just finish them up. A couple of new shapes that I painted, I think one of each of these, and I did sell those, but I do have to do an official lounge for these. So I have to get these done. These are for the card charms, and these are very popular. I know I have to stock these up. These are from my Boricua girls. I know it looks like I got more than the others, but this won't be enough. These actually sell out pretty fast. So I have to get these painted. I do keep my ornaments that are left over that are unpainted. I want to have them handy even though it's not Christmas season, so that when I do get a chance, I can go ahead and get them painted. Because you know what, the year goes by kind of fast, a lot faster than we think. Oh, I have one pair of those. Some things I did put here because I want to keep them dust free, so I did put them here. These are actually already done. What else I got here? All right, so these keychains. These keychains I used to sell a lot when I used to do vendor events because they are pretty economical. So I would sell these for like $2, and they are actually mini prints of some of my paintings. I do have a lot of the plastic ones left over because I didn't do that many events. So I want to make sure that I go ahead and get those done because like I mentioned, I have so much supplies that I have not used that I want to go ahead and just utilize them, sell them. I don't think I'll be bringing these back in stock, but I just want to go ahead and whatever I have left, go ahead and get them done and sell them and be done with it. Otherwise, they're just taking space in my house. These are the leftover, I say leftover, but the things that I have left to go ahead and paint for earrings and keychains. So this is kind of what I'm going to be working on during the spring season, as well as my 3-inch hearts, which I have some new projects going on. These are the leftover coasters that I have. As far as stains, I will be working on staining some new ones. And I think this one is just miscellaneous. Oh, yeah. This is from my Boricuas Be Like. You know what? If you guys don't follow Boricuas Be Like on Instagram, go ahead and follow them. Always sharing funny videos, Puerto Rico style. But it's just a fun page. And I do have these things here because they're my kids and they haven't used them. But I do want to go ahead and share that these are from mommywear.com. She sells a couple of these things. Look how cute that is. But this is from Mommy Wear, and I'll go ahead and put her Instagram page so you guys can go check her out because she does have a couple of cute stuff. But anyways, these are for the breast cancer awareness Puerto Rican flag, so I do have that set up there. But anywho, this is my workspace, okay? Ready to go. Oh, my pouches. All of my pouches, Posca markers and color pencils and markers. So I do have these. I gotta find a spot for them. But for the most part, this is my main workspace right here, guys. Isn't it fancy? So part of getting ready for my painting season is actually organizing this over here, and not just organizing it, but also taking stock of the things that I need, because there are some things that are like an absolute must for my crafts. Now, some of the painting stuff that I'll be doing, like paintings on canvas, those things are a little bit different because I may use a larger amount of colors, or rather colors that are not part of my crafts, but I actually have those already kind of set to the side, because I do want to do a couple of things that follow a certain color palette. So I'm not too concerned about that. What I'm gonna make sure that I focus on as far as my crafting card goes is my paints for the wood crafts. Now, this cart right here is my main cart. This is the cart that I use the most. I do have another craft cart upstairs, but that one's for other things, for more of my like hobby art stuff, right? Not my business art stuff. I know it doesn't make sense, but anywho. So I'm going to be taking stock of the things that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and give you an example, although I try to stay as pretty stocked as much as I can. For my regular basic wood crafts, like my Puerto Rican flags, I need to make sure that I have plenty of red. Now, I did used to use the Liquitex one, but I always found myself diluting it. And so this time around, I decided to go for the fluid one to see if I would like that. Now, I do feel that it is quicker and the dry time, but it does take more coats, and it does have a smell to it, which is actually kind of odd for me. It has a very like chemical type smell, but I have 3 of these in stock, maybe 2.5. So I should be good for now. And then I use my light blue. I have 2 of these. I have one in the bottom. Of course, you can never have too much white. It looks like I have 2 of these, if I'm not mistaken. But I may end up needing to buy more depending on how much I'm making. I am planning to go ahead and make a lot of things, how do you say it? Just have a lot of things in stock already made. And I'm actually incorporating my daughter to be taking apart a little bit more as far as the base painting goes. I know she's trying to learn the business aspect of it, but she kind of also have to earn her stripes, if you know what I mean. This one right here is the type of green that I use for the Afro Boricua heart. So this is the small one. It was actually smaller. Like, it was smaller than I thought it was gonna be, but it was the closest green that I could find that pleased me. Otherwise, I would have to pre-mix it, and it becomes difficult in trying to match the green when you're constantly having to mix it. So I found this one that was to my liking. I may end up having to buy a little bit more of that one. Now, I actually used to use the cobalt blue a lot more than I did than I do now. Now, for the most part, I have transitioned all of those to the primary blue, but I still may need the cobalt blue for my popsicle coasters, because those have 5, although I think I may actually change it the way that I do the coaster. So I don't know. I'm thinking about that. Now, all of these other kind of colors here, these are colors that, yeah, they're fun to have, but they are not the ones that I need for my my Puerto Rican crafts. So I may actually just move these down some, since I'm not going to be using it on my Puerto Rican crafts, which is really the things that I have to kind of buckle down on. All these fun colors is the stuff that I would use for canvas paints. And so I need to actually go ahead and move some of these things down. You see, like the purple, I'm not going to be using purple in this case, for a bit, not when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I am planning on using some of this in my art stuff. So I don't want to completely put it away, but I do want to move it down so that up here, I want my stuff that I need for my wood crafts handy. Here are some of these other things that I use, but they're kind of miscellaneous. And then back there, right down here, I have my glosses and some of the backup paints that I was talking about, but I may actually move some of these things over. I am going to be painting some new round coasters, and for that I need my wood stain, so I'm actually going to keep this handy as well, but I don't need it on the top because once I go ahead and stain those things, I don't need to do that. I do have my tapes, but I may actually end up having to buy, so these things, these right here, the yellow ones or orange ones, whatever color this is, they actually come in one pack. I may end up having to buy another one of those because when you run low on one, you kind of have to end up buying the whole thing because I cannot find it by itself. I thought I did at one point, and then it turned out that it's just not the best quality. Down here I have my heat gun and my glue gun and some of these things like drill bits and stuff that I may need for some of the wood crafts. So for the most part, I know I can, I'm pretty good for now on paint. I just have to reorganize this and move it over. These right here, let me show you. So these are the Dollar Tree brushes, and I know they're like the cheapest ones, but this is what I use for my resin crafts for two reasons. One, they're very cheap, therefore I can go ahead and throw it out after I use them, but also they're plastic bristles, and I prefer this for the resin because if it does come off during while I'm glossing or varnishing, it's easier to pick out than it would be for like the hair type brushes. So these are the best ones that I use for the resin crafts. But anyway, let me just go ahead and fix this up a little bit. Alright guys, so that is basically it as far as, you know, tidying up my humble art space designated area. You know, I just feel like it always takes longer than it should because I don't know if you're anything like me, if you're an artist or a crafter yourself and you always have like extra supplies. But it's definitely one of my missions for this year. I started last year, but this year I got to keep it going to kind of go ahead and use up the supplies that I already have in hand. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing that. And then, you know, once I use up certain supplies, if I know it's not something that I'm going to be using on a regular, then I just don't want to purchase those items anymore. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just trying to go ahead and use up everything that I have. So hopefully tidying things up and kind of wrapping my mind as far as what I have on hand, which by the way, that's not even what you saw today. It's not even everything that I have on hand. But at least get my working space cleaned up so I can bring those projects one at a time and kind of get rid of them. But anyways, that's it for this week. You know, a small little just behind the scene. And I hope to see you guys next time. Hopefully we'll be doing some art stuff because I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of antsy. I'm antsy to paint something. Yeah. Anyways, bye.